Hello and welcome to the Team VVV podcast for all your weekly racing game rambles. Alan couldn't be with us, unfortunately. He's probably busy playing Skylanders or something. But joining me, as ever, is Kevin.
Hi, guys.
And Ed.
Hello.
So if you enjoyed the podcast, please do like and subscribe. It really helps support what we do. This week, we are also giving away another Thrustmaster TMX racing wheel for the Xbox One. All the details on that can be found on the website. But anyway, last week obviously saw the release of Drive Club VR to coincide with the launch of the PlayStation VR. But this week I thought we'd turn our attentions to Mantis Racing, which was also released last week. It's a new kind of top-down racing game, sort of modernized for the current generation. So we've been playing it through. Kevin, what are your initial thoughts on it?
Yeah, it's a decent title. It's very much an old school game. If you've played like games like Super Off-Road, things like that, you'd be familiar with this one. But what makes it so good is the drifting mechanic, where you drift around the corners. It's so satisfying. It's very I would say it's pretty easy to pick up and play, although it's one of those games that you're going to take time to master. So newcomers and veterans alike will get a lot out of the game. It's interesting because the developers, VVV Studios, have done away with power-ups, which you'll traditionally find in sort of miniature racing games, at least of late. Whereas this forgoes those power-ups, so it is very much, it does have that sort of really old-school flavour, like games on the NES and the SNES. Rock and Roll Racing actually comes to mind. But it's got a very comprehensive career mode. One criticism we do have with the game is the fact that it only has 2 environments. You have the sort of the desert-like environment, and you have the city areas. And there's 4 tracks in each environment, so it's 8 tracks altogether. There are reverse variants, but it would have been nice to see a little bit more, maybe 3-4 environments. So it does get a little bit on the repetitive side, I guess. But there are a decent number of events. It sort of keeps you invested in the game when you're playing through this career mode, which is very long. But it does the driving so well, and that's why I've been enjoying it immensely lately. But it does have some shortcomings. For example, the online portion, there are issues, quite a few issues actually. The biggest issue is the fact that people are exploiting bugs to win the races without actually competing in the race. So they hang behind the start-finish line for about a lap and a half. And before the leader actually passes the finish line to finish the race, they would then sort of drive off, cross the start-finish line, and it would account as a victory or the top few places. So that's a major issue, and it's very widespread because one such race I had 6 of my 7 opponents were actually using this exploit. So it was just myself and another human racing around, which is utterly ridiculous. And, when you factor in that, it's very hard to get an online race because the numbers are so low, even just after launch. So it's very hard to get an online race as it is. And once you do get on there, more often than not, you're going to be up against 2, 3 or more players that are actually using this exploit. So it's extremely annoying. But overall, as an overall package, having a lot of fun with Mantis Burn. And the review will be on the site very shortly.
Yeah, that sounds pretty concerning, the online bugs. I guess it's a sort of thing they can hopefully patch pretty soon, though.
Yes, but the problem is it might be a case of closing the door after the horse is bolted, because the numbers are low anyway as it stands. So it's a real shame because it could have had legs, but once you launch something and it doesn't work, the interest will drop off straight away, much like we're seeing with Assetto Corsa. So it's a shame.
Did you find the difficulty got a bit harder as you went on? Because I know when I played it, I found it pretty easy going.
Yeah, I would say
car handling. Sort of going around the track with barely touching the brakes a lot of the time.
Yeah, that's very true. Actually, there are 3 classes of vehicles. So you have the rookie, pro, and veteran classes, and the career mode is actually split into 7 seasons. So the first 3 seasons, you're playing rookie class vehicles, and like you say, you don't need to use the brakes. It's pretty easy early on, actually. so you'll get through the first few seasons relatively easily. But then you progress to the sort of pro season using the pro cars, where you will find you'll need to use the brake here and there. I mean, as you upgrade your cars, they'll naturally get more powerful, and then you have to sort of tame that power, of course, to slide around the corners. So there is a little bit of decelerating and brake usage. And the level of control, you can do all this, not only before the turn you get to the turn, but also during the turn. So you've got a nice level of control, which is very satisfying as well. And once you move up into the top veteran category, you're going to be using your brakes a lot more. So it does, and obviously the season gets harder, the career mode. So it's the difficulty. Yeah, it does start off very easily, which you could say was a criticism, but it does ramp up that difficulty as you progress. So for me, the difficulty feels just about right.
I guess also, would you say it has lasting appeal? Did it really hold your interest for that long? I think especially with the limited number of environments, I can imagine getting quite repetitive after a while.
It waxes and wanes during the career mode. Yeah, you do sort of have these patches of sort of repetitiveness. But, it was quite interesting. A lot of games use like star systems. But this one has a gear system where you collect gears, and you get 3 gears for winning the events, and there's also 3 additional gears for certain in-game challenges, if you like, where you might be tasked to overtake vehicles without actually making contact, or not use your boost, not use a shortcut. So there's these little challenges there that does keep the action interesting, and you do really need to pick up these gears because the season finale championships, you have to have a certain amount of gears, so you do have to unlock these. And usually in games it's a bit of a grind to do this, but with Mantis Burn I found that it was a fairly enjoyable experience actually picking up these gears and sort of overcoming these challenges. So
it sounds like they've compensated for the lack of environments then in the overall content.
Yeah, I believe there's 8, possibly 9 game modes, although 3 of those game modes are actually sort of typical races. With the variant is only the number of laps. So 2 laps are your sprint races, 3 laps are your normal races, and 5 laps for endurance. So yeah, you have to take that out of the equation. It's probably about 4 or 5 different game types. Sorry, so it's barely enough, I would say, just enough to keep you invested in the career mode, but before it gets too sort of repetitive. But it's interesting because although there is only 2 environments, the game just about gets away with it. So it's fun enough to get away with it, I'd say. But I'd love to see a sequel in the future with improved sounds, much more environments, and online that actually works.
I was surprised as well that how extensive the career mode was, because when I spoke to the developers, I think they said there's about 25 hours worth of content. It's along those lines.
Yeah, I'm assuming that's if you collect all the gears. I can't argue with that. It's certainly in the high, or it's certainly in double figures. I've probably invested between 10 to 15 hours in, but I haven't collected all the cogs. So yeah, that's a fair figure, I'd say.
There's definitely one for completists by the sounds of it.
It is, yeah. Once you start picking up all the gears from the early seasons, you sort of, you're creeping along and you're picking up more and more, even when you don't need to. So it does have that sort of addictive nature to it. So it's that can only be a good thing.
So worth £12, would you say?
Yeah, for me, it's an easy recommend at that budget price. Absolutely, yeah.
Sorry, go on, Ed.
Yeah, sorry, I was just going to ask probably an important factor in a game that's a bit limited on content, and also how you were saying how the features where you'd have power-ups and things usually in this style of game, but they're missing on this.
Yeah.
So I suppose that really makes it more dependent on its own mechanics and making sure that
absolutely, it lives and dies on the driving model. So, but yeah, fortunately, the driving is satisfying enough for it to stand up rather than fail miserably without the power up. So yeah, it was a brave move by VVV Studios to sort of take out but not develop the game with power ups in mind. Although there is speed boosts that you do build up with using drifts and slipstream and jumps and things like that. But did it need power ups? I'm not sure. I would like to see maybe a power up mode, maybe bolted on, and see how that is. I'd love to see a sequel though.
I did ask them that question actually. We got a developer interview with them coming up soon as well. But one of my questions was what influenced that decision as to not to include power ups? And like you said, they said they want to focus on the racing, but they said as well that if there is enough demand for it, then it is something they might consider in the future.
I mean, that's a team that has confidence in their product to say that. So, and they knew they had the driving down to a T, so they were able to do that. And I believe they've been successful. I mean, reviews have been incredible. I believe they're sitting on, last time I checked, they were sitting on somewhere around the 80 on the Metacritic. So incredible score. But there just don't seem to be the numbers online, which is strange. I don't think many people have actually
It might have come out at the wrong time.
Yeah, true. The VR, isn't it? It's all VR.
Yeah, I think it came out on the launch day of PlayStation VR.
Yeah, it's it's a bit of a lesson, that, isn't it?
I guess the lack of power-ups just kind of set it apart in a way.
It does, because it's it very much harks back to the old days, the old races without the power-ups. I believe it stands up without the power-ups. Brave decision. They've got the driving feel right. It's a satisfying game to play. You're looking at 10 to 20 hours in the career mode. The online, unfortunately, is not there. But for this budget price, I think it's a no-brainer, really. I think it's certainly one that you should go out and buy, especially if you, in your sort of late 20s, 30s, where you would have been brought up playing sort of games like I mentioned earlier, and you probably will get a lot out of this. Although, will players coming from games like tabletop racing get as much out of this? I'm not quite sure.
No, that's it. I mean, obviously, back in the day, the market was absolutely saturated with top-down races. Obviously, you had games like Micro Machines, etc., etc. What were some of your favourites at the time?
So Super Off-Road, certainly, on the NES. Rock and Roll Racing, goodness me.
Probably not Grand Prix Rock and Roll Racing.
No. No, it's... I
couldn't resist.
Yeah, this is a superior product to Super Toy Cars and Grand Prix Rock and Racing, certainly, yeah.
I think on my Game Boy Color I had one game that was Micro Machines 1, 2 and 3.
Yeah.
That was really good.
It's trying to think of miniature races without power-ups. It's actually quite hard, It
is actually, yeah. I mean, I lived and breathed Micro Machines V3 on the PlayStation, but obviously that did have power-ups.
Yeah, that's right. I had that game and played that quite a lot. That was a very tough game.
It was very tough, yeah, but great fun in split screen as well. I quite enjoyed Circuit Breakers as well. Do you guys remember that?
Oh, yes, that was a fantastic little game. Yes, I remember that.
Underrated.
I was trying to think of the name of that game actually a little while
really?
ago. And yeah, now you've said it. It's it's a cracking little game. Yeah,
had the mini style car on the cover.
Did
that have power ups? I can't remember.
I don't think so. No.
I think that was another one of those games where I didn't own the game, but I played the demo to death.
Yeah. There was another one, wasn't there, on the PS1? I believe it was called Speedster.
Ooh, I don't remember that one.
Yeah.
Speedster. No, I don't remember that.
Again, well, in that case, it was me playing the demo, not the full title.
I'm literally just looking this up. Oh, I recognise. Oh, yeah, I remember that. I just saw the cover. Yeah, got the sort of Porsche 911 style car on the cover.
That's the one. Yeah.
God.
Oh, the memories.
Yeah. Sorry, nostalgia's just kicking in at the moment. It's good that Mantis Been Racing kind of brings back these memories. It's something that's been quite lacking this generation.
Yeah, it is. Like you say, it stands out because of the lack of power-ups, and it's actually a very good product, unlike what we've seen recently with miniature racing games that's not quite up to par.
No, that's true. Well, the same. I mean, tabletop racing was pretty good.
So I'm currently working on the review for that, actually, and I would say it's probably on a level playing field with Mantis in terms of fun.
They're quite different though, aren't they? Because obviously tabletop is a sort of chase camera game. So it's more comparable to Super Toy Cars, I suppose.
It is, yeah.
in a way, it's like a budget version of tabletop racing, that game.
Yeah, very true, very true. And it's nice to see a resurgence of this genre, isn't it? With or without power-ups. It's but they are a little bit hit and miss. But with tabletop racing coming on the PS Plus, that should hopefully, really sort of give the subgenre sort of resurgence.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like that gave it a massive install base of several million players.
Yeah.
Which, from the sounds of it, Mantis Bone Racing kind of needs right now.
It's probably one of those games that's going to be quickly forgotten about, maybe.
I think it might well be one of those games that's been released at the wrong time, unfortunately.
Yeah, and with the online problems, it's probably just going to fade away. But hopefully we'll see a sequel in the future, because I think VVV Studios will be mad not to at this point. Yeah,
exactly. Anyway, speaking of games being released at the wrong time, that leads me very nicely on to another topic. So we had some sad news this week, actually, that United Front Games has been shut down.
Yes.
So for those that don't know, they made they're best known for making Sleeping Dogs, the kind of poor man's GTA set in Hong Kong. Actually, that's unfair. It was a good game in its own right, but didn't quite get the attention it deserved.
No.
But in terms of racing games, they are also known for Mod Nation Racers and Little Big Planet Karting. Two games that just didn't sell very well because they were also released at the wrong time.
Yeah, it's a shame, isn't it? Because they were nice little titles. Had some unique features, and even now we're seeing a return to karting games coming out as well. So
that's true, actually. Yeah, I mean, I remember at that point though, that kind of brought back karting games as well.
Yeah. So they're sort of coming in and out of fashion, I guess, with sort of varied success.
Yeah, I mean, I remember Mod Nation was fairly revolutionary at the time for its sort of user-generated content with its track creator.
Yes, it was novel, wasn't it? It had all these options, environmental sort of customization of tracks, and it was it stood out at the time for having all these unique features, and it was a fun little game as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was kind of Mario Kart meets Little Big Planet, basically.
That's right. Yeah.
I think Sony really wanted to make a sort of rival IP to Mario Kart, but it didn't quite work out that way, unfortunately.
Yeah, no doubt. But you can't take on Mario Kart. It's just it's too good.
It's completely futile. Did you ever play that one, Ed? Mod Nation Racers?
I didn't. No. Well, unfortunately, I think the only old sort of go-karting or power-up based kart games and things like that I played when I was younger was probably Crash Bandicoot Racer.
Oh yeah, well the original one on PS1.
Yeah, Crash Team Racing, I think it was called, or something like that.
Yeah, good game.
Yeah, my dad's friend had it, so that's where I was playing that.
Oh yeah, they kind of they remade that a few times, haven't they, on PS2 and Xbox, I think.
Yes, I believe so.
But
I heard recently about it being made again. Was it
really
Crash Bandicoot that they teased?
Crash Bandicoot, yeah. There's apparently a remake of the original, I believe. So I'd be interested to see how that turns out. I mean, playing the original Crash Bandicoot on the PS1, incredible at the time. The graphics, it's just mind blowing.
Oh, I know. I remember.
Yeah. So it'd be interesting to see how they deal with a new version, maybe a VR title. Who knows?
Yeah.
Well, probably not actually. No, because it'll probably make you very sick.
Imagine spinning round in VR.
Yeah. Or running away from the boulder.
Yeah.
VR, that'd be quite something. Yeah, we go back to United Front Games.
Sorry. Yeah.
That's all right. I think what's particularly sad as well is that obviously I remember at the time Mod Nation Racers released, I think it was about 5 or 6 years ago, but it was released around about the same time as Blur and Split Second. And of course, both of those developers were also shut down in recent years. So it's like all three of them are now gone.
Yeah, it's a shame. Yeah, I mean, I had great fun with Split Second. To me, that was
I love Split Second, yeah.
One of my favourite ever arcade races. Maybe not quite up there with the likes of Driver San Francisco, but it's...
No, nothing can beat Driver San Francisco. Just want to put that out there.
Yeah, but, it certainly was an interesting game, and I believe it really worked, But Blur was maybe less great, shall we say. It was a strange mix. It was like realistic looking vehicles with very unrealistic looking power-ups. So they went for that very strange mix of sort of cartoon almost meshed with reality, and I don't think it quite worked out.
That's the one that had a sort of neon sort of style?
Yes, that's it. Yeah,
I had some friends that were very much into that game.
Yeah,
there was a bit of a niche to it.
Yeah, there was.
It's a shame because like all three of those games were really sort of innovative at the time as well, and yet they just didn't take off.
Yeah, see, that's the problem, isn't it? When you have something that's pretty experimental, if you like, there's always a chance that it's going to bomb pretty hard. And today's games, a lot of developers are guilty of playing it too safely. Bigger developers, that is. So we look more and more to the indie scene for that real, true sort of innovation.
I think the problem too at the time was they were just released way too close together. I think Blur and Split Second were released like in like a week or two of each other.
Oh, really?
I think all three were released in the same month, and neither of them had that much promotion.
Yeah, it's promotion really poorly marketed.
I think Modern wasn't too bad because obviously it was a Sony game, but I don't think even they sort of advertised it enough really. But Split Second and Blur in particular just bombed. Which is, they got such rave reviews, they got cult followings now, and yet. My personal favourite was Split Second, though.
I'm hoping that there's going to be games in the future that are going to be very similar, or are going to innovate in just unique and interesting ways, like we've seen before.
Yeah, it's obviously back then, of course, the indie scene wasn't quite as booming as it is now on the consoles.
No, there's not enough. Just hasn't been enough big budget racing games, has there? In recent years, it's
no.
Very strange. It's the middle tier, isn't it? Development, sort of gone away, and we've just got the big sort of AAAs, and then the indie down the other end of the scale. So it's an unusual sort of time for game development, I guess.
I think also the indie games at the moment are actually the quality of them is
far superior.
Growing. Yeah.
And I
think it's got massive potential. I think that's probably why you're seeing such a gap.
Yeah, I mean, technology's moved on so much that. Games like Bears Can't Drift, there was no programming, was there?
No lines of code at all.
Yeah, so it's becoming easier and easier to make games, and games are running and looking better than ever. So it's become, I guess, more easy now to develop a game. So we're going to see these titles, one-man developed titles, two-man developed titles that are going to be coming out that are going to actually look quite good and play quite well as well.
That's it. But yeah, it's funny, looking back at Split Seconds and Blur, if they came out today, they probably would be by an indie developer.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
But yeah, real shame. I mean, my personal favourite was probably Split Second because it was basically Michael Bay, the game.
It was, wasn't it? And you had in between races, you had like a TV show presentation. Coming in the next episode.
I love it.
It was good.
Even the colour palette was just Michael Bay, like loads of oranges and stuff like that. Explosions everywhere, like massive dump trucks being smashed into bridges. Definitely my kind of game.
Yeah.
But that was developed by BlackRock Studios, who are sadly no more. And in fact, it came out this week that they were also working on a Metallica game, which was a bit of a surprise.
Yes.
Looks a bit like a kind of Twisted Metal style game from the footage posted online.
Yeah, sort of Vigilante 8, Twisted Metal sort of style. But this was a game that dates back from around 2003. And
Metallica Damage Inc.
Yes.
Named after one of their albums.
That's right. And, it's a very early version, but I mean, you get a reasonable idea of what it looks like. If you go onto the Team VVV website, you can check that out. And there's a sort of a video there with gameplay footage. And basically, you got several vehicles, 2 weapons bolted onto each vehicle. Obviously, a choice of different weapons. And there's also different armor configurations, which I thought was very interesting. So you've got your standard vehicle, and then you have these different armor sets, I guess, that you can sort of put onto your vehicle, which was interesting because it really does change the look of your vehicle, and really, you can customize your vehicle to your taste, not just in paint and decals that you normally get, but actually in terms of the physical look, the physical armor attached to that car, which I thought was pretty awesome.
It looks like it was reasonably fine in development. Looking at the video.
I guess I forget how bad the PlayStation 2 looks these days.
That is true, actually. Yeah. Oh, you can actually
It's a throwback though. When you watch that and you see like the way things are happening, you can see the physics working. You can see when like he does a skid, and you can see the tire mark and that little bit of smoke that comes up. It's like that is so reminiscent of the time.
Yeah,
it really puts you back then.
Interesting as well. I'm just watching the video through, and you could actually get out of the car as well, which is a bit of a novelty back then.
My jaw hit the floor when I saw that. It was like, wow, yeah, that's really impressive feature for this game.
It looks better than Driver 3.
Yeah, exactly.
Freer, call it the proper name, Drift Freer.
Drift Freer, yeah. So you could be driving along, and if you see a big meaty truck, oh, I'm gonna have that. So you just jump out, jump into the truck, and away you go. Yeah,
you couldn't do that in Twisted Metal.
No, you couldn't, could you? So it's a shame.
That's another genre we need more of, I think, at the moment.
Yeah.
Car combat.
We had Carmageddon, I guess. Which
everyone's forgotten about that now. Sadly.
Yeah, very mixed reviews, unfortunately. But there you are.
Yeah, I suppose there's always Gas Guzzlers coming out soon. But again, that looks a bit
ropey.
Worrying. Yeah.
Yeah. It's
we've got a video on the channel where the frame rate is less than smooth, shall I say.
Yeah, it actually pauses, doesn't it, for a brief second or two. Oh, not two, but about a second or half a second probably. So it's in a pretty dire state at the moment. But it's interesting, isn't it? Because it was released on the PC a few years back. And you'd think with a game that's already been released a few years back that they'll be able to port it reasonably successfully.
It's weird that it came out 3 years ago on PC, that one.
Yeah, you wouldn't imagine a PS4 would be struggling to run in terms of performance. So I don't know.
No, it's a strange one.
It's obviously a lot more to the porting than I think.
So is that got a release date?
It hasn't yet. No, it was meant to come out in like a couple of weeks later, but it hasn't surfaced yet. So hopefully they're optimizing it.
How surprising was that then that it didn't actually come out?
I know. I think I wrote online. Like, I wouldn't hold my breath if it came out when they said it will.
No, it's not going to be this year, I don't believe.
Well, it's weird though, because like it's meant to come out on Xbox One this year, and then I think they're doing a PS4 release next year and also a retail version next year. So why not just release it all next year?
They will, no doubt. Yeah.
That would make sense.
Yeah, I think they need the extra development time to get that nice and smooth. And like Alan said before, it's I can't imagine it's passing the Q&A Xbox Q&A because it's such a it's in a very poor state. I mean, and you got to think that when they go to events and they show their game, they're going to be showing you the best of what they've got. They're not going to be showing you the worst.
I know. I found that really strange when I played it, I must admit.
Yeah. So if that's the best they had at the time, then they're going to have to delay it, aren't they, till 2017?
Personally, I'm looking forward to Wreckfest the most at the moment in terms of car combat wrecking games. There was a recent update actually for that.
Yep.
I think it added a new car and some tracks and stuff like that. So it's good to see they're still supporting the early access release of that.
Yep.
Because obviously we've also had the release of Stuntfest.
Yes.
Weird spin-off to Wreckfest where you eject your driver and out of the car in mini games and stuff like that.
Stuntfest, otherwise known as Wreckfest tech demo, I think.
It's basically the same. It looks like an expanded version of the technology demo they released a few years ago, actually. Which I had a lot of fun playing. There's a very old video on the channel.
Yes,
it's got about 200 million people have seen. Yeah, bizarrely. It looks like a more fleshed out version of that with different characters and different tracks, different obstacles, that kind of thing. Looks fun, but I'm not sure if I want to pay for it personally. I'm not sure. Yeah,
it's interesting because there's a picture on the website on the teamvv.com. It shows Santa on the tractor, which was recent DLC, wasn't it? Well, not recent actually. It was last Christmas DLC for. Wreckfest.
The free mini game for that.
Yeah. So they're very much. They're not ashamed to sort of give you a slice of sort of Wreckfest tech demo and updates and stuff, and just call it a new game. So it's a little bit cheeky, isn't it?
It is a bit.
But I guess you know, they might have had a lot of good feedback from it and decided that they should.
I loved it at the time. I played that so much.
Yeah.
Although that was it was your first taste of the main game.
Yeah, absolutely. Although, of course, the damage is not going to be half as good, no doubt, in the final product, simply because of all the processing that has to be taking place behind the scenes. But if it's if it's a quarter as good, it will certainly be very fun and entertaining.
No, I did notice that actually. Yeah, when I first played Wreckfest, it did seem a bit toned down compared to the technology demo.
Yeah,
you could really bend your car out of shape, like beyond recognition.
Oh, okay. So there's already signs then on the early access version that they've toned down. Okay, cool. Yeah.
And also, the technology demo actually ran smoothly on my PC, whereas the main game does not.
Yeah, and then we've had some technical issues with the game, haven't we? Alan has been experiencing some performance issues as well.
Mm. That's true.
So it was a case of they've updated the game, but actually added the extra issues.
Mm.
Yeah.
Basically. Yeah, they keep sort of changing their mind, I think, with the physics and stuff like that. But I think they are taking feedback on board from what I've seen. So hopefully the final product will be worth the wait.
Oh, looking forward to that, yeah.
Yeah, really can't wait to play that. So I guess we should do some current racing game news. Yet again, there's been a lot of goings on with Assetto Corsa. We've got official confirmation at last of the first Porsche pack. It's coming out next week. In fact, it's only for PC though. I think initially,
yeah.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
Okay, so initially the PC release will be out on October 25th. How many Porsches have we got?
7.
Yep.
7th heaven.
Quite a good mix of sort of old and new.
Yeah. Anything there that stands out for you, Ed? You're looking forward to?
It's hard to pick between some of them. I think definitely. I definitely want to try out the Cayman GT4 because obviously there's been so much raving about that in real life.
Okay.
And Assetto Corsa is a really, really close representation of that. So it's a good way of seeing what you think about it. But also the 935 Moby Dick as well.
Yeah.
Just because that is just amazing.
Just because
it's going to be so good. I think that car was in iRacing at some point.
It wouldn't surprise me. Yeah.
Or there was a mod for R Factor actually. I think that I've seen before where someone was playing it and there's mod that they were playing that on, and it's just really, really hard to drive. So I'm interested to see what their take is with this car on Assetto Corsa and how difficult it is to drive.
Yeah. So it's a fairly cheap, isn't it? It's €6.99. So you're looking at £1 a car, essentially. And of course, this is only the first pack of 3. And the other 2 packs will also feature 7 models. And, aside from the 3 packs, they've also, shall we say, will be releasing some other Porsches that you may or may not like. Some very negative feedback.
Yeah, I suppose the developers haven't been having death threats over that, or maybe they have.
I think they can be forgiven for the price of their packs, really, because I think especially when it comes to console, and you get people that are used to Forza and having to pay much more for content that includes cars that have been in the last 3 games and things like that, and so when you get something that's as fresh as Assetto Corsa with these amazing cars in the DLC. There's Porsche as well, which gets denied from so many games.
Exactly. So I don't understand all the hatred over it. I mean, also Assetto Corsa is a lower price game as well compared to, like you said, Forza and games like that.
Exactly.
When it's from console. So
I'm wondering if some of the backlash came from the fact that the console versions were not phenomenal on release. Maybe added fuel to the fire, perhaps. But in total, we're looking at 24. Porsches. I mean, come on, that is incredible.
And that's a good chunk of the car list.
It is. It really is. And wow, 24 Porsches. This doesn't happen. What's going on? This is phenomenal.
Yeah. It's like compensating for Porsche's lack of appearances in video games lately.
Yeah, because you imagine soon after when you're seeing like games picking up the Porsche license, you'd imagine the filter through maybe a few Porsches here and a few Porsches there, but 24 is very impressive.
That's what better game as well to feature in than Assetto Corsa in terms of a thoroughbred racing simulator.
Absolutely, and there's dream machines there that can't wait to get to grips with.
Let's say, so many years, the only game you could literally play Porsche in was Need for Speed. I just never did the brand justice.
No.
I remember the first year.
I remember playing,
was it Forza 4? That was the first game that didn't include Porsche.
That's right.
And I remember that was coming out, and they announced that they didn't get the Porsche license for it. And then I think like the day after or something, Need for Speed announced how they were getting exclusive Porsche cars. Oh. And everyone on the internet just raged so hard. It was beautiful.
I don't know if it's the same game, but I remember I think it was the Run. I think it might have been that one where like there was only like a really small handful of Porsches, and like the very first scene in the game, the Porsche was like in a car crusher.
That's it. Yeah.
It's like that's a great use of the license, guys. Yeah. Really.
Press X to escape.
Yeah.
got love those quick time events. Do you know what? I'd rather die than use quick time events. Press nothing to die.
Yeah, they don't belong in racing games, do they?
Oh, no.
Events. But also interesting, actually, was iRacing have announced a new partnership with Ferrari, which was a bit unexpected. So it's certainly happening at the moment in the sort of sim racing
licensing.
genre.
Yeah, lots of licenses being acquired. This is absolutely huge news for iRacing. Even the biggest sort of iRacing fans did not expect this. So this is very much a surprise to a lot of people. And so the first car coming is the 488 GTE, which is as raced in the 24 Hours of Le Mans, I've written here. So it's a thoroughbred race car. Looks absolutely stunning. Got a massive giant wing on the back, if that's your thing. And it's going to mark the first of hopefully many Ferraris for iRacing.
Yeah, it's been quite quiet on the iRacing front, so it's good to see them make a comeback with this.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think that particular Ferrari is probably quite a good addition, actually, for iRacing in particular, with the other GT3 car content that they have, like the McLarens and so on. So definitely fit in well because it's already got its own sort of field of cars to compete in.
Absolutely, yeah.
Indeed. So elsewhere, obviously WRC6 came out recently. Currently working on the review of that, so do check back soon on the website. We're a bit surprised to find that they've actually already released another version of it. On PC, you can now get the Deluxe edition, which comes with a few extra goodies. So you've got the Toyota Yaris pre-order car that came out before, and a 3-month subscription to the WRC Plus interactive digital service. Wow. And a calendar.
Oh, a calendar. Calendar's always handy.
And it includes the game itself as well, obviously.
Oh, okay.
For what additional price do I get these luxuries?
Apparently it's available for £41.97 on Steam.
Well, there you go.
Right. Well, yeah. We've seen worse, haven't we?
That's true. It's worth pointing out that existing owners can apparently purchase a separate pack anyway, which has all the bonuses at a reduced cost.
Yeah. It's not as bad as the is it Valentino Rossi? £100 collector's edition?
Oh, yeah. I remember that.
Yeah.
I mean, even Horizon 3, the top edition is like, isn't it 90 quid or something?
79.99.
Yeah.
80 quid, yeah.
So that's probably Milestone's first and probably last collector's edition.
Probably, yeah. I think it's just with that one, of course, it's just because of the Valentino license. They just know it's probably going to sell because there are so many die-hard fans of him.
Yeah, and it was sold out at one point, wasn't it? So
it was, yeah. I think I'm going to check on Amazon to see how much it is. I bet it's gone up.
Oh, wow.
Brace yourself.
Yeah.
I'm going to guess how much it's going to be now. With £100 when it first came out.
Yeah.
Bear in mind, you can get the game now for about 25 quid.
It's now a collector's item, so
we just saw the price.
Okay, so should we have a guess? Ed, do you want to have a little guess?
It's £100 when it first came out.
And you just went, ooh. So
Yeah.
I'm going to guess more like 130, maybe.
Right. Okay. I'm going to go 160.
Yeah. Okay. Well, you're both wrong. It's £252 plus.
What?
Yes. Plus £20 delivery because it's from Italy.
Oh wow. £272.
That is wow. You've
I mean,
got to
for
be a
that,
fan.
you get like a T300 for that. So wow.
It's the same price as a high-end racing wheel.
Yeah. Oh wow.
Wow. There you
That's,
go. I thought the Forza Horizon 3 collector's edition was steep.
Yeah. So I mean, if you're going to buy a collector's edition, you buy it at launch, don't you? Because it's going to be going up.
Yeah, with Forza, I was amazed how much that sold out. You could not get it anywhere like a few days later.
Yeah, amazing, isn't it? There's a market there for it all the time. So,
although I can't really talk, I'm a sucker for like steel books and collector's things. I have my limits.
Yeah, I can't imagine
the price.
I can't imagine making too many steelbooks in circulation. I imagine the numbers are quite low, aren't they?
And they're usually quite limited, especially with games. Yeah, they're more popular in sort of films. I found a slightly cheaper collector's Valentino Rossi collector's edition, by the way.
Ooh, how much?
It's on eBay for 170.
Oh wow! It almost makes it worth it.
I know. That reminds me, actually. Yeah, speaking of Valentino Rossi, there was some new DLC released recently. Well, I say new DLC.
We believe it's part. Well, it's on disc content, isn't it? And you're paying for essentially an unlock. So it's pretty cheeky. It's things like this that upset fans. And Milestone recently saying they're going to try and make up to fans the fact that they don't, support their games post release. I mean, this is not the way to do it, is it? Really?
So they've released some new real events for the current MotoGP season, so the 2006 season.
And I think this is the second real events DLC we've seen.
It is. They've done one for 2015 as well.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, it's quite cheeky because the real events were always a standard feature of the previous games.
They were, yeah.
I think with in the case of Valentino Rossi, of course, she has all the other historic events with Valentino Rossi. So I guess it's kind of been a substitute to the real events. But even so, it's annoying having to pay for content that was always included in the game beforehand.
And you've also got to factor in the remote control DLC, which might not be everyone's cup of tea, very random. So
I feel sorry for people buying the season pass and not knowing what they're getting themselves into.
I can imagine a lot of people have been, quite upset with the offerings so far.
I mean, I guess you could argue there's been a fair few sort of extra bikes with the legendary bikes DLC.
Yeah. That was a decent DLC pack, actually.
And there is variety. It's not just a load of tracks and bikes. I guess they are trying to shake it up a bit, but it's still content I feel you shouldn't really have to pay extra for.
No, I totally agree.
It's not for the real events and the RC cars anyway. But there we go. Interesting to see, obviously, this is the current MotoGP season real events. They don't normally show up until the game in the following year.
Yeah, that is interesting, actually, because it's very hard, isn't it, to obtain the license and all the, getting all the cars.
It's the first half of the year, though, or something. I think there's probably another one to come, actually, because I think this only covers the first half of the year.
Oh, yeah, that's correct, actually. Yeah, I think it's like the first 9, is it, races, something like that?
Yeah.
Yeah, so
I guess that's probably going to be a lot, then, because obviously they're going to support Ride 2 after that.
It's interesting, really, because it does sort of, the idea of releasing a game episodically, if you like, say like an F1 game where you could release maybe the first half of the season or release as the season goes on, each track at a time, might help with development. But there was talk of a potential F1 game being released maybe half, 50% one time and 50% later. So I don't know.
It kind of makes sense, I suppose.
Yeah,
I mean, I think some people do get quite sick of all these sort of analyzed releases that just have content updates. You could easily release it as DLC sometimes. Well, I guess with release Valentino Rossi, they did shake up the formula a little bit.
I did, yeah. I mean, there's tons of content, like you say.
Yeah,
but I prefer it if they would have you know, what they should have done was the real event should have been part of the base content, and then the other content they could have introduced as DLC, and I think that would have gone down a lot better.
Yeah. So I guess in other bike racing game news, Road Rage.
Yeah,
The Road Rash inspired Road Rage.
that's it.
It was supposed to be out next month, alongside obviously Motor Racer 4 as well.
Mhm.
But it's been delayed until next year, unfortunately. Although, judging from the trailer, I can't say I'm very surprised.
No, it's a bit of a curse at the moment with bike games
I
being
know.
delayed, because we've had Road Redemption delayed.
Mm-hmm.
Although we are in line to get Motor Racer 4 on the 4th of November.
Yeah, I saw an advert for it literally today saying that, so hopefully that won't suffer any more delays.
So yeah, if the PR machine is in motion, then I guess it's coming. Whether or not it actually launches with PSVR support is another thing, though, because
I'm quite curious. I'm very curious how that is, from what Alan said before.
Yeah, he wasn't too impressed, was he?
No, he went as far as to basically say it's the worst VR experience he's ever had.
Yeah,
we did say though that the person we spoke to about that said that they've made vast improvements since that build.
No, that's why we shouldn't judge until we play the final version.
Yeah.
But we need it in a way, because there's so few VR racing games out at the moment for PSVR, apart from obviously Drive Club VR.
And even that is making a lot of people ill. So it's
exactly,
it's not a good start, is it, for the racing genre? It's a bit disappointing.
There's always TrackMania Turbo next month, but I'm inclined to believe that will make you feel very ill indeed.
Yeah, that's
the track. I'm going to brave it though.
I'm glad I don't own TrackMania Turbo, because the curiosity would get the better of me, and I'd have to try that. So
I'm going to take one for the team on that one, I think.
Yeah, so that comes out November 8th, so not long now. That's a free patch, actually, isn't it? So that's
indeed
very kind of the developers there.
That might be a very graphic video, though, if I was to film myself playing that in VR. Just vomit everywhere.
Dear, I don't envy you.
Just the sheer speed of it alone was enough to make me feel nauseous, let alone all the crazy banks and loops and stuff like that. Oh my god, and jumps.
Yes.
And like all those high-speed rollovers as well you can do when you get it wrong.
Yeah. I mean, Alan has experienced this in VR, hasn't he? And he was saying that you should concentrate on the road ahead. Don't look around, don't look down, don't look anywhere but where the car is, or if you're.
It's kind of funny, because that's not the whole point of VR, to be able to look around all the time.
Yeah, I mean, who knows? They may have smoothed out the experience. So
no, I'd be interested to see that.
Yeah,
crazy the effect that VR can have on you. Do you think that racing games would be a genre that is picked up quite a lot, because it's not like other games where you have arms and things of your character that you have to worry about. In a racing game, especially if it's like something like Assetto Corsa or Drive Club, where you have a wheel, and if you can actually have a wheel in real life, as well, and you get that in VR, and it will add to the simulation of everything so much.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Racing games is perfect for VR. So you think it'd get picked up really well?
It could be the perfect platform for VR technology, but I suppose, like Alan said in our video the other day, that if you were to drive a sports car at that kind of speed, some people would feel nauseous in real life as well.
Yeah, I guess anything with a cockpit it lends itself well to VR.
Yeah.
Apparently, the bigger the cockpit is, the more it takes up the screen, the easier it is on your body. So, yeah.
It's interesting. I don't know if you saw last week on the VR subject. I saw a video of Ronnie O'Sullivan.
I saw that, yes.
Trying out VR with a snooker game, and actually leant on the virtual table and fell over in real life.
Yeah. The table wasn't there, so yeah. I mean, I used to play snooker a lot, so I know what it's like. You bend down, you put your chin on the cue, and with no table there, the only place is down, isn't it? And, I'm not sure whether that was a bit of a PR stunt or not. I'm not sure, but poor Ronnie there, unlucky.
It's the worst when someone walks in and you're in the middle of a VR game. You look like such a Burke.
Yeah,
I've had that whilst playing Job Simulator. I stood up with these two glowing motion sticks.
Yeah,
with the VR headset on, and it just looks very bizarre if you've never sort of seen VR before. But yeah, that's what VR's turning us into.
Just getting back to Road Rage, no release date has been set yet, as far as I can.
Release date.
No, so
2017.
I mean, we're looking at the gameplay from before, and we mentioned, it looks very basic. It's probably not a stretch to say it looks like a last-gen game.
Again, I mean, the developer that made it, they also made Flat Out 3, and that just instantly ruined my expectations. I hate that game with
a passion.
Yeah, with an unbridled passion. Like, Flat Out was one of my favourite banger racing games, and then that came out, and it just wrote it off. So I had to get it out of my system.
It looks fun enough. It's lacking so much detail graphically, though, isn't it? And there might not be much depth to the gameplay as well.
The thing is, it appears to be in a world that has no gravity.
Yeah.
So when you hit a rider, they sort of go flying into the air so high. It's quite comical.
It is strange, isn't it?
Yeah, it looks very exaggerated.
As if they're hitting the eject button on their bikes.
Yeah, exactly. The physics do look very exaggerated, almost sort of cartoonish.
But then we don't want ultra realistic physics in all our games. We've got space for crazy games.
See a game that doesn't take itself too seriously.
Yeah.
But all the same, it has this kind of really gritty look to it, and then you see something like that, and I think it is a bit jarring.
Yeah, that's a good point, actually.
It's very
it's interesting.
Urban environment.
With games that don't take themselves too seriously, often are pretty lackluster experiences, really, aren't they? So
yeah, look at Carmageddon.
Yeah.
Sorry, Carmageddon. I really wanted to like it.
So you're not getting on too well with it then?
Well, no. I mean, the cars just don't turn.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
Basically. Yeah. Anyway, moving on.
Quite a fundamental flaw, that one.
Slightly. Anyway, moving on. I've been dying to mention this. I think you can probably guess what I'm about to say. But
I do.
Yeah, there's a little-known racing driver called Lewis Hamilton, and he's appearing in a video game. Except it's not F1. It's Call of Duty: Infinite Warfare. The most bizarre news of the week by a mile.
It is.
Wow. I mean, he's playing some character in the game. There's actually a photo of it on the website. You can see his character rendered in game.
Yeah.
He's also recorded dialogue for it. I think most people are going to be disappointed when they play it and they probably can't shoot him.
Oh dear. Yeah.
So,
yeah.
I think.
I can just imagine though with the dialogue that he's recording. He's saying stuff like "I'm right behind you" and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Like usually in Call of Duty games, you get someone with a really gritty voice, like, and they're saying things like "get to the chopper" and things like that. And,
quickly, Captain, get to the chopper!
Action, adventure, and all that sort of stuff. I could just imagine Lewis Hamilton with his fair voice, like, "Oh, I'm behind you. It's okay."
Yeah, exactly. He wouldn't be a member of the Gears of War team anytime soon, would he?
Yeah. I've got here some actual lines that he recorded. So if you just imagine Lewis Hamilton saying some of these lines, so we got, "Captain, news reports coming on about the gateway if you want to join us." And of course, "I'm right behind you." I can't see it working. I probably wasn't speaking monotone enough there either.
I wonder if his performance in this is going to be better than his Cars appearance.
Oh, I forgot about that actually. Yeah, I did forget about that. Was he? I thought it was Michael Schumacher.
No, it was Lewis Hamilton was a McLaren in Cars 3, Cars 2. Can't remember now.
Oh yeah, I vaguely remember. I'm thinking the original one where Jezza was in it.
No, yeah. He did really well in that. That was really good.
Yeah, I agree. But yeah, very, very bizarre. Obviously, that's out early next month, so whether that will sell any more copies, we'll wait and see. Not that it needs to.
Some messages from some mates saying that we should do a midnight launch sort of Call of Duty party. We would get like a couple of consoles up and running, a few projectors. So if we have a podcast shortly after that, I'll let you know how Lewis Hamilton sounds in the game.
Yeah, I'm curious. Yeah, record it for us. No, it's Battlefield 1 all the way for me, I'm afraid.
Yes,
okay.
That's getting some very good reviews, isn't it?
That's out this week. Can't wait.
Oh yes.
Probably you won't be able to shoot Lewis Hamilton in that though, so maybe Call of Duty will be the better game. Anyway, I thought we'd finish up. Obviously, quite recently, the first trailer for the Grand Tour came out, something which we're all very much looking forward to. Did the trailer live up to your expectations? Because it certainly did for me.
Yeah, it's the usual clowning about, isn't it? And supercars and all that good stuff.
And scripted humour.
Yes, you can't. Yeah,
oh no,
exactly.
The cars come off the crane.
Ah, I'm just watching the trailer now, actually.
I think
it's good to see. Yeah, sorry, go on, Ed.
It's so good to. I don't know. I had my reservations about it, thinking, oh, I hope they don't try and change too much. Or
I think if you didn't tell someone, they would think it was Top Gear.
Yeah, and well, the thing is when I watched it, it's sort of you could feel the familiarity there. You got used to from their shenanigans that they got up to in Top Gear, but it didn't have that awkwardness of trying to be something different. But it was something different still.
I know what you mean. I think it's just because they've got so much free reign now to do what they want.
And money.
Yeah, and obviously money. And you can see where it's been spent. I mean, the cinematography looks incredible.
What could possibly go wrong?
I'm surprised, actually, they were allowed to say that, because there was all that controversy about how like the BBC's lawyers are telling them they couldn't say any like well-known phrases from Top Gear. And that is one of the catchphrases.
It's probably just been elaborated quite a lot from their original issues trying to come up with a name for it.
Yeah.
To avoid anything related to Top or Gear or Gears or BBC or, it's all these things that they couldn't relate to.
Yeah. The Grand Tour's a pretty ingenious name, though, because obviously GT and TG.
Yeah.
Yes.
Was that really subtle reference to Top Gear? So I'm just watching myself again. Oh, the Alpha.
So there's a section there, a sort of mini studio with the crowd surrounding, which very much gives you a sort of a mini Top Gear vibe. And
to the tent.
Yeah. And you got your tanks, you got your your supercars, like I said, you got helicopters, and there's even a camel there, which is quite random.
I don't think anything could be more random than the American episode where we had the cow on the roof.
Oh wow, Jeremy Clarkson on a speedboat here as well. Goodness me.
Did you guys see the video that came out recently of them arriving somewhere in Italy? And
I think so.
Who was it? I think it was Hammond. Got out of his car, he tried to get out of his car, but all he could do was open the door and sort of stand on the roof.
Yeah.
So there was so many people. I mean, I don't think they've had as much hype around them.
No.
Ever. Just leaving Top Gear has just sent them into the stratosphere.
Oh, that's insane. I mean, who would have thought, though, when Top Gear first started, it would turn into this?
Yeah.
It was amazing, wasn't it? Because they introduced, when they first started doing these sort of segments where they'd all be in a separate cars, initially they just threw one of those in one of the episodes. It got good feedback, so they started to do it more often. And it eventually evolved into just three of them clowning about, essentially, for the pretty much all the episode. So it's evolved from a motoring show into entertainment show.
Yeah. I do think the quality did kind of dip a little bit, though, towards the end.
Yeah,
it was a bit of a victim of its own success.
Yeah, I did lose a bit of interest. Like, there was a lot of episodes in the last sort of 3 or 4 seasons that I missed. So
I still enjoyed it. It was still better than most other things on TV.
It was compulsive viewing at one point, wasn't it?
Yeah, so I hope the Grand Tour kind of rekindles that magic again.
Yeah. But, so it's just 1 month away now, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not in October, Kevin.
No, I wish it was. I thought it was in October, and I got a little bit overexcited there. Another 4 weeks to wait. This is torture.
Yeah, if you read Kevin's article this week, you would think it was out this week.
Oh dear.
No, November 18th is the date.
Yeah, sorry about that, guys.
It's pretty much 4 weeks away.
Yep.
Oh, can't wait just to see that showdown between the LaFerrari, McLaren P1, and Porsche 918.
Yeah,
we were supposed to have seen that like a year and a half ago.
Indeed, yeah.
We could make one of those ourselves in Assetto Corsa soon, anyway.
Yeah,
That's true. Yeah, beat them to it. Right, I think just to round off, actually, there is actually a new game out next week, which we haven't touched on.
Oh dear.
Do you guys have any inklings to what it could be?
Yes.
Oh,
Is it
Kevin
tractor
knows.
based?
It might be.
It might be. It may or may not have a tractor. Yeah. Farming Simulator 17.
That's the one. How many farming simulators have there been now, honestly?
I don't believe there's been 17 though.
No. Oh my god. One's enough.
Yeah.
It does baffle me, the massive success that this series has. But each to their own, what can I say?
Yep.
One thing you guys probably didn't know, though, I only found this out the other day. we touched on this earlier, kind of, but there's actually going to be a Farming Simulator 17 Collector's Edition.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Of course.
There you go. It's on PC only. It has many things. I'm just gonna. Oh, it has I think it has a model tractor.
Oh, that's cool.
Look at that. I'm just gonna get the
I think
details up.
that is definitely the kind of thing that you should have in a collector's edition. It's not
A
just
model
like,
car.
oh yeah, you get the DLC or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, Forza Horizon 3 did that. They gave you a model Lamborghini, whatever it's called. I can't remember, the Centenario. Yeah. You got a model one of those, which actually were very limited. I seem to know. But I actually looked them up the other day. So obviously, the collector's edition was $79.99, and some people were selling them on eBay for the same price, just for the car.
Oh,
which was insane. Why? But yeah, if you're a fan of Farming Simulator, there is a collector's edition for you.
that's not that bad actually. £40 for a collector's edition.
£40, yeah. Comes in a nice big box.
Does.
It comes with some stickers, some concept art, an art book, the art of modding. Wow.
Big A2 poster. That's pretty big.
That'll look nice next to my Forza poster with the Lamborghini.
Oh, they've even spelt farming wrong in the description there.
Oh, have they?
Famring, yeah.
And you get some downloadable content. Does it come to this, honestly? Extra downloadable tractors, officially licensed tractors.
Wow.
Also
Yeah,
comes
there
with
are
some
lots of people out there who love their tractors.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, if we've got any tractor lovers out there, we'd love to hear from you in the comments. The Art of Modding book. Oh, you get an ebook as well in PDF. Wow. In fairness, it's pretty. I have to say, it's pretty good value. It's not extortionate like most collectors' editions. So, yeah, fair play to them.
Absolutely, yeah.
But when I'm making on, you can look at behind the scenes footage of them making the farming game. What's that? Yeah, and it comes with a miniature tractor as well. What more could you want for £40?
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Give the tractor to your kid, and away you go.
Yeah, that's it. It's PC only, though, I should point out. Not available on PS4 and Xbox One. So, yeah, I guess that's it, really. Unless any of you guys got anything to add?
Nope.
No, I think we're good.
Okay, cool. Well, thanks as always for listening. If there's anything you want us to particularly talk about, by the way, do post some questions in the comments. We'd love to try and answer them. Anyway, until then, we'll see you again next time. Goodbye.